Hey there guys, so these are just my opinions of the state the items are in for AD carry at the moment, and this can change later on as sort of things develop and maybe tweak things a little bit and people figure things out. So this is just my opinions as it is now, like a couple days after the patch has been done and I've been playing with it for a bit. So yeah, so level 1. Also check out my my other AD carry items guide if you haven't already. I'll put the link in the description. A lot of it is still valid, and it tells you when to build items at the correct times and stuff. It's probably one of my better videos I've done. So I would go check that out. A lot of it is still really relevant. So, yeah. So level 1 now, I think boots 3 pots are still the best, but it really depends on the lane matchup. Movement speed really helps for auto-attack trading. You don't really auto-attack trade like you do in bot lane, in ranged auto-attack trading like you do in bot lane, anywhere else apart from maybe a little bit in mid, but most of the time it's completely different sort of trading game in bottom. So it's still really good to have the movement speed. People are still really trying different things out, so we'll have to see what kind of builds develop later on. But it depends on the lane matchup. So against Blitzcrank, you're going to definitely want boots. You definitely want boots against Blitzcrank. You want to have as much movement speed as you can against Blitzcrank. But with the addition of Flask, you know, the Flask item and the passive gold regen, it's more viable to buy a load of sustain on bot lane to deal with heavy poke supports and like Lulu and Sona. So like you get a Flask and a bunch of pots perhaps, especially if you're in a matchup that's gonna be losing from the start as well. Like you're in a counter pick matchup, like you're with the Nunu against Sona, and you're just gonna be harassed to hell. It might be worth it to buy a Flask and some pots. So that's something I'm gonna be trying out as well. So, onto the sort of big items that we're going to build. So, your first 3 items still on AD carry is still going to be Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, or Bloodthirster, just like before. I mean, some people build like Phantom Dancer first on Cog or Vayne, but I still think the building one of those 3 big items is still the best way to do it. So, Black Cleaver. It's not totally suited for AD carries still, because it's not really like a fully late game AD carry item that you'd want. Perhaps you can build on Corki, Airs, or Graves. I've tried it out a little bit. It's a very strong item at the moment, but the nerfs are already on their way on the public beta environment, and it's looking like it's going to be nerfed a bit too much, and it definitely won't be worth it on AD carries then. The link in the description to the evidence or whatever, or proof of that, is in the description. Blade of the Runed King. I've tried this a few times. I really don't think this item is worth buying. I don't really like it at all. I don't think it's an AD carry item. More maybe suited to like attack damage bruisers, I think, like Lee Sin, things like that. I don't like it at all. So Phantom Dancer, I think this item's kind of been replaced a little bit by Static Shiv. It's a bit more expensive than Static Shiv, and it offers slightly more attack speed and crit than Static Shiv, but it's only like 10% on each one. And the passive, in my opinion, is kind of worthless. You don't need a passive to go through minions. It's not worth buying spending money on a passive to ignore unit collision. Anyway, Static Shiv. For me, this is kind of replacing Phantom Dancer. Like, the passive is great. It does good damage. It really gives good stats for the gold, and is slightly cheaper than Phantom Dancer. So I think this is kind of replacing Phantom Dancer a little bit in my build for now, anyway. So Vamp Scepter, they doubled the cost of it, but you get some attack damage. It's still worth buying in lane for some sustain, I think. But, I mean, if you don't want the extra attack damage, it might be just worth using Lifesteal Runes instead. Bloodthirster, there were very minimal changes to Bloodthirster. Once again, you can refer to my original AD carry items guide for information on when it's good to build it and when it isn't. Infinity Edge, really, just like Bloodthirster, it wasn't really changed at all, and Trinity Force wasn't really changed that much either, apart from the sort of global nerfs and buffs they did to attack damage and attack speed. So they reduced the cost of attack damage and reduced attack speed in general. So Mercurial Scimitar, this is the one that QSS upgrades into. I really like this item because QSS was a very cheap item before, like 1600 gold or something like that. And it's not something you would want in a 6-item build, and building GA blindly before was a stupid part of the meta, which I really hated. And of course, the QSS mechanic on this item takes some skill to use correctly as well. This is probably the most underlooked item for most people, and I love it. Sometimes you just need the QSS ability, especially against things like Skarner, and basically this just adds another BF onto your item that you can use. So I really think Mercurial Scimitar, if you need to get the QSS like you're against a really heavy CC team or a Skarner, then I think this is a really nice item to have in your 6-item build, and I love that Riot did this change with that. So Ruinan's Hurricane, after testing this and seeing some people use it, I really don't think this item is good. It deals very little damage, and you're rarely in a position that, as an AD carry to make use of its AoE. Like I said before, maybe the only times you can really use it is with a Galio comp or something like that. But for now, I really don't think it's a strong item. In terms of pushing ability with this item as well, you really just have similar pushing power just by going Bloodthirst or IE or whatever. The pushing power on this item for lanes isn't that strong, and to be honest, you're not really going to be doing any like amazing split pushing comps in solo queue. I mean, that shit just doesn't work in solo queue. You just need, I still think the standard AD carry build is the best, but now rather than just getting a GA at the end, having a Mercurial Scimitar and a static Shiv perhaps in place rather is going to be better. So if there's anything else you guys think I've missed out on or you want some answers to, please post in the comments. We can continue the discussion there. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can, and I'll also be doing some more videos on Season 3 in the near future, so stay tuned guys. Thanks.